Rajeev. So we'll just continue the topic we started before the half term. So the Mendicant path and the attainment of goal. Was anyone who was not there in the previous talk? I think everyone's there, so there's no point to recap. So before we start, we did a small prayer last time. So we'll again recite another prayer. This prayer is actually in the Prabhu Puja book, which has been given out by Veerayathan. And we all recite the Nokar mantra. And what's quite interesting is that, if you're feeling cold, we'll wear a sweater. If you're not feeling well, then we'll have medicine. And here is actually how our Guru Maharajas have created Atma Raksha Stotra, which is taking the Nokar mantra and almost you have to visualize that you are creating a shield around yourself. So like you're creating a kind of a moat, like a castle, like a moat, and you're going to be protecting your face, your body, and it's like an armor. So it's kind of amazing to see with the power of your mind and with the power of your the mantras, you are now visualizing that you want to protect yourself against anything that protect yourself. So it's a wonderful prayer, and it's intertwined with the Nokar mantra. So you could join in. So we'll just recite the prayer. So it says, Om Parameshti Namaskaram Saram Navapada Atmakam Atma Rakshakaram Vajra Pandraham Smaramyaham Om Namo Arihantanam Shiraskam Shirasi Stitam Om Namo Siddhanam Mukhe Mukhapatam Varam Om Namo Ayariyanam Angarakshadishayini Om Namo Urajayanam Ayuddham Hastarayodradam Om Namo Loye Sappasahunam Mochake Padayo Shubhe Eso Panchanamukaro Shila Vajramaitale Susabba Pavapanasano Vapro Vajramayo Bahi Mangalanam Cha Sabvesim Khadirangara Khatika Swaham Tam Cha Padam Geyam Padamam Have Mangalam Vapropari Vajramayam Pidhanam Deya Rakshane Mahaprabhava Raksheyam Shutropadra Shudanashini Parameshti Padudbhuta Katita Purvasuribhi Yaschainam Kurute Raksham Parameshti Padei Sada Tasya Nasyadbhayam Vyadi Radishchapi Kadachana. So it's a wonderful prayer. As you can see with the even the diagrams, that you're trying to create a shield around your face. Or Namo Ariyantanam Shiraskam, shield your face. So you want to protect your face. Mukhe Mukhapatamvaram, mukhe face agar. Om Namo Ayariyan Angarakshati Shaini. So with your fingers and all your body, you're trying to create a moat. And then right towards the bottom, lower is Vasavana. So it's a nice prayer, and it's in Prabhu Puja. Okay, so let's continue with this. So now let's just imagine for a moment, if you and I actually think of becoming a monk, what are some of the qualities we need to believe? This seems quite a hypothetical question, but just imagine that one day you actually really get up and saying, "Na have mane sadhu ke sadhu manuche." And many people who actually do decide to become monks and nuns, it's not an instant process. There's actually a process of they will find a Guru Maharaj. There's a process they will actually seek. Do you develop the qualities? Will that lifestyle actually suit you? So there's going to be a process of a couple of months or even a couple of years to see whether you're going to be. It's conducive on both ends. So can you think of some of the qualities that if you and I did think that we wanted to become a monk, what are some of the qualities we might need to develop?
Detachment.
Okay, so detachment is one. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, detachment.
Conviction.
Huh?
Conviction.
Conviction.
That is your path.
Yeah, so that means that once when you follow the path, there's no turning back. So that you need to have that strong conviction or determination. Sorry? Calm mind. Yeah, because no matter what, because it's going to be life full of challenges. So if you have right now, we sometimes go through ups and downs, but at that time the stability is very essential. That's what we see in all monks and nuns. They've got a very stability.
And learn to live with a minimum
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult when you think about or to give up things what you are used to.
And I think that's quite true, because I think that's even more true for Jain monks and nuns, because if you look at some monks of other faiths, they probably even get married, they use the cars, they use all their amenities, but if you look at the Jain monks and nuns, their kind of lifestyle is very, very severe. Yeah, I think so. So some of the other things which I've come up with is, I think, awareness. It's even like as when they ordain themselves, and when they have to read some of the scriptures, the agams, one of the key things which comes is awareness. When you walk with awareness. When you're eating with awareness. No matter what you're doing, is jagruti. So now, what it is, everything is with awareness. And I think what is generally said is that if you do things with awareness, then the karmic bondage is actually less. So you might be walking, some minute organisms might get crushed, but the fact that there's a difference where you're walking with awareness, with a view that I don't want to harm any living beings, and if they do still get crushed, then you still would bind less karma than just being absolutely negligent and just walking without awareness. So awareness is quite key. Jagrati. Again, mindfulness. So everything in that, I think both of them link to one another, awareness and mindfulness. I think tolerance. It's kind of amazing how much you need to tolerate things. I mean, it's nice to say with basic things, but you have to tolerate the weather elements, you have to tolerate kaunu maidu, na maidu. And in fact, there are also different categories of monks. Swetambar monks, fair enough that they go for gochri, they go for alms, but Digambar monks, they are a different league altogether. So Digambars are a different sect. Within Jainism, there are two main sects, Swetambar and Digambar. And Digambar male monks actually do not wear any clothes, so they're just sky-clad. And we actually had a privilege of seeing when, as part of the SCVP group, we went to Pavapuri in 2011. And that was again in December, but it was a very cold time at that stage. And we all went to Pavapuri, and all of us from England wearing thick jackets and sort of being very, very cold. And there we just literally saw in Pavapuri temple a Digambar monk coming totally without any clothes, not showing any sign of sort of cold, and literally just going to do darshan of Bhagwan Mahavir in Pavapuri. And it was an amazing sight to see that even this day and age, we might read stories in books, but to see in front of your eyes. And even more so, where my wife, she grew up in India, she was saying that the Digambar monks, they actually, when they go for Gotri, they do abhigra. So what that means is, they'll probably, before they set out, they say, Aaj hamare khawa javu che, they will actually in their mind decide, okay, if these 2 or 3 conditions appear, only then I will eat. So they will be going, they might come to your house, but if that condition in their mind is not met, they'll just literally walk away and go to the next house. So what they've decided in their mind, no one knows. So can you imagine that they're coming to your house for alms, they want to eat food, but if those conditions are not met, they'll just move on to the next one and to the next one. And if the condition is not met, they'll just go back to the Upashray and come the next day. And they could go for fast for days and days. So their kind of form of penance is just kind of amazing to see that how they can sustain themselves. So the tolerance is just amazing, how much toleration. And this actually puts into perspective, because apne ko holidays ma jaye, ke restaurants ma jaye ne khaun maan barabar, ke aam nathi barabar, it really puts that into perspective ke for slight discomforts, how we would lose our yeah.
Sorry, stop just for a second. There's a grey Vauxhall V019 blocking someone's car. You can just move it when you leave. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think the tolerance is kind of quite important. I think graceful acceptance, and there's actually another quote. So graceful acceptance is also something very, very interesting, which we might need to develop. I mean, there's a very nice quote. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So it's kind of amazing to see, if there is some kind of, I'm feeling cold, I know that I'll put on a sweater. But for example, if someone has got some diseases which you can't change, So if someone is inflicted with cancer, then you just have to have graceful acceptance. Okay, when there are things which are beyond your power, then all what you can just do is gracefully accept things. Graceful acceptance. Universal brotherhood. So that's another great thing. What we do is like our life is dominated by our family, our welfare, Mara Chokra, Maru family. But when you become sadhus and sadhvis, you expand. Everyone's your brother and sister, and everyone's your mother, and you treat everyone as your father. So you just kind of have compassion to almost everyone. There's just no difference between caste, color, creed in the true sense. The other one is no pramad, and pramad essentially means spiritual laziness. And it's also both ways. We said rati arati. So saru kam karoma, you don't want to be lazy. Ne kharab kam karoma, you just don't want to do those bad things. So in a way, you don't want to have any spiritual negligence. You're always alert. You always want to elevate yourselves and for your spiritual upliftment. So in a nutshell, the difference between us and them. And this is kind of quite interesting, this us and them. Even if you look at economics right now, there's a big thing about haves and have-nots. We are the people who have got things and people who have nots. And many of the things, unrest, civil or social unrest, is just because of that right now in many parts of the world. All this migration, people coming from war-torn areas, is that people are always looking for things that, oh, the rich and they have got this many things and we don't. So it's always a divide between us and them. And it's kind of amazing to see that there's also a very big divide between us as lay people and them and sadhus and sadhvis. And one of the key things is the internal state of mind. Mind is just kind of amazing that how they develop their mind. And you have to say, we say them, we could be them. So essentially, if we say, okay, we want to become sadhus and sadhvis, we would then go through a transformation, some kind of training to actually then start developing that kind of mindset. The extent of vows. We'll say we'll try to sort of follow it for 48 minutes. But the extent of vows is lifelong. So if you now have that dedication, it's going to be for lifelong. And second thing is that scriptures when we follow the vows, ours is called anuvrats. So we follow them with it's kind of minor vows. We know that we are not going to follow them to the best ability, and there's going to be some scope for transgressions. Okay, so for sadhumajis, whether it's life or death, you just have to speak the truth. We might get away with saying, yeah, I still did say some lie. So essentially, there's a big difference. Ahimsa, aparigraha, all these things. Sadhus and sadhvis, it's the greatest vows, and for us, it's going to be the anuvrats. Kind of the degree of effort. I mean, if if many of us, we do personal training, if it's left to us, we'll say, okay, do this many squats, do this many push-ups, we'll say, stop, this is too much. But if there was a personal trainer in front of you, come on, one more, come on, push yourself, you will actually you push yourself much harder. So for us, we would do things, but things become slightly uncomfortable, we don't like things, we'll just say, but when you become monks and nuns, there's nothing, it's almost like climbing the Himalayas. No matter what it is, no matter how much difficulties there are, you're going to surmount it, and the amount of mental degree and sort of conviction you have is just phenomenal. It's kind of amazing to see that the initiation Diksha, so when someone is actually called rebirth, and this concept is also there in Hindus, when Hindus say, Janma Navo Thyo che. Can you imagine we actually give them a name, after this many days, we will give a name to the child. Essentially, when someone becomes a monk or a nun, there's a name change. Your whole identity of who you are in this Ajay Maru Namche that gets wiped out, and you then sort of get a new identity, a new name, and that's why all our sadhus and sadhvis have got new names. So many of the male monks have got that kind of suffixes: Nandi, Kirti Yashuri Maharaj, Vijay Chandra Suri Maharaj, Yasho Vijayji Maharaj. So all these kind of Acharya Maharaj, they get those kind of names. It's kind of a rebirth. You're starting a new life when you want to become a monk or a nun. This is Acharya Chandaji. How many of you have seen the movie Never Before? Yeah, that's very nice. If you know it, it's actually on YouTube. If you just type in YouTube, It's in English. There are two versions. One is Hindi and one is in English, and it's definitely a video worth to be seen. Okay, so the question is whether you've seen it or you've not seen it. What do you think Acharya Channaji's name was before she took Diksha? You got it straight away. Well done, Shakuntala. So yeah. So she was called Shakuntala. So this was her name before, and then when she took Diksha, she was called Sadhvi Channaji, and then obviously then she became later Acharya Channaji. Do you know who is this Sadhvi? She's still part of Vidayatan, Sadhviji? Sangamitraji Maharaj. And her name before Diksha? Phone a friend, Google. So her Diksha was in 2011, and her name before Diksha was Mangalam. So, as you can see, so the name actually changes.
Do they have a process for how they name them after the Diksha?
I think the Guru Maharaj actually gives the name, and sometimes, basically, what tends to happen is that the gurus, and no matter which sect you believe in, the gurus just have a lot of perception and intuition. When they see you, like if someone sees you on the road, within a few moments, someone can actually decide your personality, who are you are. So Guru Maharaj is, when you've been associated with it for so long, they can understand, or they have got some intuitive power to see what it is. So amukne yash ape, amukne knowledge hoy, amukne game hoy. So Sanghamitra Maharaj Mata, we asked Acharya Channaji, what prompted you to give the name Sanghamitra to her? And what Acharya Channaji said was Sanghamitra was some personality in the Buddhist faith, and that person actually propagated Buddhism to such a great extent.
She was a daughter of King Ashok.
King Ashok, okay, I don't know the story very, yeah.
And she became Sadhvi, Buddhist nun.
Buddhist nun, okay.
She went around Sri Lanka and all that to spread the.
Okay, so yeah, so there you go. So I got the gist of it was saying that she was a Buddhist monk, and because she spread, so Acharya then she then said, okay, so the Sanghamitra ji, then you have that wish that she's going to spread the message of Jainism. So depending on what the Guru Maharaj has got there on the mind, and because each of these names has got a very subtle and deep meaning, profound meaning, and so that's how they give the names. And that's also quite true. Rashi also many of the Indian names have got very profound and deep meanings if you look at the roots of those words. So you're hoping that the child sort of lives up to those kind of expectations. So again, it's a very, and that's why a lot of people, if you talk to sadhujis, they really hope to get us in our generations that we still carry on that forward. People name many things right now, but it's a very great thing to sort of carry on. Rashimati ke naam ave and the names have got such very deep and beautiful meanings. Now, there's a big controversy about monks and nuns. One of the biggest controversies is, can young kids or young children take Diksha? And this is an ever-growing debate and which goes on in India. What do you think some of the arguments are, pros and cons? If people, as arguments, do you think young children should take Diksha or should not take Diksha?
As a cons, I would say that at that age, are they definitely sure about all lifelong vows? So that is a cons.
Yeah, that's a con, yeah. And other people say, how can you sort of say, I want to give up something when you've not even, it's not your will, you've not exercised your will.
Yeah.
I guess the pro is the opposite, then they're not as involved in life, so it's probably easier
To mold them.
say
Yeah.
that I don't want to carry on and have a family and leave now,
Yeah.
rather than getting married and having children and then
Yeah.
doing it. It's
Yeah,
younger, in their teens, and it might be easier.
yeah, it's absolutely very true. Yeah, that's true. In fact, this is obviously, I was privileged enough to meet a monk. This is in 2015, went to India, again a young monk that taken, I'm not sure what age to take Diksha, but the minimum age
generally they say by and large is about 8 years old. So 8 years old is when a Sadhu Maharaj will generally by and large, if a child is say 5 years old and saying that they show inclination of taking Diksha, the Guru Maharaj will not actually give them Diksha until they become 8 years of age. So that's kind of a rough rule of thumb, that by 8 years old they generally think that children have got enough sort of sense so 8 is the minimum age, but yet people still sort of say that 8 is still a very tender and young age. Now, that's very interesting. This is Acharya Vijay Ratnasundar Maharaj. I've actually listened to a lot of his videos, and in fact, every time I listen to him, just tears just come out of my eyes. He's just very prolific. He was recently actually awarded a Padma Bhushan by Narendra Modi, which is quite amazing to see, because as Vinod Bhai has also said, that when sort of politicians or governments give titles to religious, he's not after the title. That doesn't make any difference to him. But what happens is that the government endorses that Jainism is on the right path, and sort of, you know, you always have to have a very good relationship between governments, because then the religion can prosper. Otherwise, if you don't have a very benevolent ruler, then you can have a lot of problems. So, ekbar, when I was listening to his Vyakyan, he was actually saying that he was going for his alms. And when he went for his alms, so TV when he was just going on the TV, there was just a news flash coming in. And the news flash, they were saying, the reporters were saying, look at these Jain monks and nuns, tikla kharab che. And some girl was taking Diksha, and the mother was not very happy, and the mother was crying. So just as the Sadhu Maharaj was walking in, and in a garma je lady hata, whether it's a husband or a visitor, was a news reporter. He himself was a news reporter. So he was saying, Dikkar se tame sadhu loko naki. You guys are, shame to you. Look at you. You are making this mother cry. The mother is very unhappy that the daughter is taking Diksha, and how can you do such things? And telling to Acharya Ratnasundar Maharaj. So Acharya was very calm and composed and said, yeah, the daughter is crying. I can see on the news the daughter is crying. Mother is unhappy. And said, okay, what do you have anything to say to that? Acharya ne puche. Acharya very calmly says, whenever any girl takes Diksha, doesn't the mother cry? Every single time a girl gets married, wouldn't the mother would cry? Does it mean that the mother is crying because the girl Diksha lagan kare che, to aapne lagan band karwa choye? Can that ever happen? That person just couldn't answer that question. Yes, it is true that even when a daughter takes marriage kare che, she will go away, and Vidai ma, the whole family will cry. But that does not mean that you just stop Diksha. So it's amazing that how they can look at different situations and sort of say, it's fair enough, the mother is unhappy, but you cannot stop, it's a very short term, it's because of attachment, the mother has that attachment. There are three things which Guru Maharaj is actually look at before someone says I want to take Diksha. One obviously is age, the other one is ailments. Before you take Diksha, if you are going to be very severely disabled, then you will actually be a liability to the son, because after all, after you take Diksha, then obviously if something happens to you, that's nature. After years or whatever it is, and so something happens, even monks and nuns get cancer, they're put into hospitals, that's fine. But before taking Diksha, and if one is severely, has got some severe medical problems, then the Sadhu Maharaj says it's better you stay as a household, because you will require a lot of assistance, and therefore it's better, you could stay life like a monk, but it's better not for you to take. So they will take that into consideration. Then they'll say, the other one is agreement. Do they really want to say Diksha Leviche? They will try to ensure as far as possible all the family members and who are near and dear are in agreement. It's not like forcibly, I just please come and take Diksha with us. So these are the kind of three things, criteria which Guru Maharajas will look at before anyone wants to take Diksha. Now, taking Diksha, for some of us find, as you just mentioned, that sometimes we feel taking Diksha is actually kind of quite a hard thing to do, and it's kind of a sad occasion. Oh, to Diksha leche, people will start crying, oh, you're going to go through a life of hardship, tough endurance. On the contrary, Diksha, when the celebrations are happening, it's a very jubilant and a very sort of joyous occasion of Diksha. So when we went for Sadhviji's Diksha in 2011 to Rajgiri, you could see that there was actually processions. And they do celebrations just like Lagan. Lagan ma super wala mendi kare, pachulu su pitti gulu yellow color no su pitti pitti kare. So they're doing all these kind of celebrations, almost like a wedding celebrations. Then after waiting my Vargodo hoy, there will be a Vargodo curse. And there's just absolutely all joy and happiness all around. And certain traditions actually followed also. It is said that Jarapra Tirthankars, when they took Diksha, most of our Tirthankars, they were in royal families. And when they took Dikshas, then for about a year before they took Diksha, Varshitan kare, ek varas sudhi, because they know that I've got total detachment. All these pleasures of the palace and all the kingdom has got nothing to me. So about sort of varas sudhi ke whatever time period before the Diksha, they just go out and they just literally giving out whatever the treasures of they are. And it's a kind of a symbolic gesture, okay, look, I've got no attachment. I'm in a royal family, born in a royal family, but just giving up. And as you can see, they're just giving out things. They just literally. So it's a very joyous occasion. So what is the Diksha like? So again, this really depends on different sects. Different sects would have some different ceremonies. And when we attended Sanghamitraji's Diksha, there were three things which occurred. Obviously, there are prayers. And when we attended her Diksha, Acharya Chandaji is a very open-minded personality. So she said yes, and she actually invited some Buddhist monks also. So not only were the Jain prayers, but then she also said, why don't you also, because, where they are based in Rajgiri is very close to Bodh Gaya. And Bodh Gaya is where Buddha Bhagwan, it's one of the main places where he got enlightenment under a tree. So they are in very close proximity. So all the Buddhist monks know Acharya Shri knows all kind of many of the Buddhist monks. So there were all these dignitaries there, Acharya Shri was there, and a lot of the Buddhist monks were here. Let me see if this works. This is our famous song, Sanghamitraji. It goes long. Yeah, so these are the prayers which are recited at the Dhamma Diksha. So I think the prayers are quite long, and one of the prayers which is actually recited is Karmi Bande. I'll just. So if you look at it, when we're going to be doing Samayak on 21st of June, and when we do Samayak, one of the prayers which comes is actually Karmi Bande. So we even recite this Karmi Bande prayer. And if you really look at it, Karmi Bande, Samayam Savajyam, I'm performing Samayak. And if you look at it, Karmi Bande, Samayam Savajyam, Jogam Pachkani, I am taking the Pachkan by giving up sinful activities. So, I'm going to be giving up sinful activities, and when we do Samayak, we are giving up the sinful activities for 48 minutes. Whereas, same prayer, when Sanghamitraji takes his prayers, she's now giving up sinful activities for lifelong. So there's a big difference, because she's reciting this to saying the time period for us will be 48 minutes, whereas for her, it will be lifelong. And then, if you look at it, there are Javanyam Vajuvasam, Duvyam Tivenam. In two ways, Maninam and Vayan. How do you want to give up sinful activities? Through mind, Maninam, and Vaya and Kainam. Speech and body. Man, Vachan, Kaya. And in two ways. Na karu ne na karavu, na karemi and na karvemi. So I will not do any sinful activities, and I will not encourage others to do it on my behalf also. So there are two ways. Na karemi na karvemi. Tasa bante pretty come nindami garemi apan bosirami. Apan bosirami means I want to refrain. Please give me the strength to refrain from these sinful activities. Apan bosirami. So it's these prayers with many other prayers, but as you can see that this is kind of the vow which you are taking, that you just want to do this for lifelong. Now this is Namra Muni. Can you imagine ke apna hoy koi chokro hoy, if it's a birthday present, oh I got a gift. Ke for us, if you get a new house or if you get a new car or whatever it is that which we like and we desire, it's excitement for us. For sadhus and sadhvis, getting this ane ogo kevai, that is the ultimate joy. When the Guru Maharaj gives you this has actually now become a symbol for Swetambar monks and nuns. Okay, now the Guru Maharaj is now giving you this kind of many people use this charvodo. So this has now become a symbol which for sadhus and sadhus ke humne Guru Maharaj ogo and ogo ke ogo ai poche, and that becomes an ultimate joy. The other things, many people, we have got paintings in our house. Many people actually keep this kind of decorative piece at home, and this is kind of a very symbolic for people to say, okay, I've not been able to have the strength of becoming a sadhu or sadhvi, but these are kind of amazing things that sort of items which then put your mind, okay, one day I wish I could follow this path. Or even if I can't, you're actually in adoration of people who are following that path. Two ways. Okay, I don't have the strength to follow it, but people who do, and these are kind of different symbols. Ogo che, mara che, the patra che. Just the sight itself sort of gives you amazing. Can you imagine actually lifelong, your food is just going to be in those utensils. That's what's going to be how you're going to sustain yourself for the rest of your life. So that's kind of, you can get this in India. A lot of people have this in their homes as kind of decorative pieces. And to remind yourself, this is something to be worth aspiring for. In fact, it's quite interesting to know that when we talk of karma, it is generally believed, obviously it's not verified, it's generally believed, can you imagine, suppose you're going on a holiday, is the excitement before or during the holiday itself? Before. The excitement actually is much before. The preparation for the excitement, holiday, all the kind of visualization, actually when you go there, perhaps then it becomes like more routine. Maybe first day, it's like same thing. Recently, last year we went to Kenya, we went to safari. Pehla divse jare safari park ma gaya, tera chokra was all like elephant, lions. Second time, because they take you 2 or 3 times the same route again. Second or third time, they just don't want to look out, the excitement. Similarly, it is said that Sadhu Maharaj hoy, that moment if they're taking Diksha, because we go through different gunasthans, there are different stages of spiritual development, gunasthans hoy. At the time when someone wants to take Diksha, they think that's kind of amazing, that in terms of the shedding of karma would probably the highest at the time just when you're taking Diksha. Because once when you have taken Diksha and you saw Mara 10 varas Diksha thai gaya, it becomes like monotonous. I don't know came Diksha lidi, came Diksha ma to problems. But the excitement which you have right now is just kind of phenomenal. In terms of shedding of your karmas, would people generally believe that this is just before or within your first few days, it's kind of phenomenal because you are at a different, your mind is at a different level. You've got so much enthusiasm, so much energy, excitement. Oh, Diksha lidi is kind of amazing. Now, one thing which is very totally unique to Jains is this ritual which they do is known as kesh. With your bare hands, you're literally going to be shaving your head off. Maybe nowadays, maybe they could be using, because when we went to Sanghamitraji's, obviously they used a razor to shave the head off. But generally, traditionally, the monks, they would literally go sort of hair by hair and pluck the hair off. And it's quite sore. And so, as you can see, that even it's depicted in our scriptures, and it's kind of it's become a symbol of determination. Okay, yes, I am willing to forfeit and you know, I'm going to be I'm willing for any kind of problems which is going to come along my way. So sort of, you know, they want to make whatever is impossible, I'll make it possible.
Does it grow again?
Yeah, वार्ता अपने ये या उगता हुआ है ना, but it's like every year ये लोग करे. It's an annual ritual के पास ये लोग का. Now, where did this ritual start from? Vadkapan. Obviously, we know that our first Tirthankar was Rishabdev Bhagwan. And in fact, this is Rishabdev Bhagwan in Murti che. And in fact, we actually went to a temple. This is in Maharashtra. The temple is actually in the shape of a boat. And because of Tirthankar is almost like saying, they are going to help us to cross the ocean of life and death. So therefore, they've got the whole temple in the shape of a boat. And as you can see, niche, upar pan derasar che boat ne niche pan all bada Bhagwan ni murti rakhi che. So this is derasar tya. Tya Bhagwan Rishabdev ni murti che. And what's amazing to see, if you see Bhagwan Rishabdev ni murti, not all the Tirthankars except Rishabdev, you'll see the in a vard niya sudhi ave che, shoulder sudhi. So do you see that the yellow color no yaje che? So most Adeshwar Bhagwan ni murti hoy, they'll actually show the hair coming up to shoulder. And what's written in the scriptures is that when Bhagwan Rishabdev was taking Diksha, he was doing this lodge, ne pachi koi dev ke devi aiva se, and he said, Bhagwan, please don't remove all your hair. You're actually looking quite good with this. Please reva do tame, na karo. So he said, okay, fine. So as a form of respect, he did not remove all his hair, and so therefore thoda hair grew. And there's always a debate between Jains and Hindus, but if you also see many of because we believe that Rishabdev Bhagwan was it's not even, it's like millions and millions of years ago when he was around. And if you see Hindu na monks che, chotli rakhe, some sort of people believe that the Hindus actually got this from, because Bhagwan Rishabdev ne pan hatu, thoda kaina vard kapi ne ka, pan thodu kaina vard baki rahi gaya tha. So that's sort of that tradition started from Rishabdev Bhagwan. But this is always a very sore topic, because Hindus will say, this has been our own culture independently of the Jains. Jains would say that there's some interaction, but as you can see, this is Bahubali, again in sort of in very deep concentration. This is in Shravan Beligola. In fact, this photo is my dad's first cousin. So she's taken Diksha. So in fact, these are my grandparents. So this was in 1975. As you can see that, so this is my dad's first cousin who took Diksha. And the brother is, the real brother is actually now saying, Behne Viro. Then there's going to be Vargodo, and then family members can attend the Diksha ceremony, and then you take the Diksha. So kind of amazing. Even today, so after all these years, she's still a sadhvi.
Do you know where she is?
We have Palitana Goy, and they just keep on moving from place to place.
Have you met her?
Yeah, I've sort of go to India. Seen it 3 or 4 times. Yeah. Okay, this is obviously Naveen you recognize. Shamnijis from the Theravada sect, they actually sort of do visit London. It's kind of amazing to see, this is Gochri. One aspect of sadhus and sadhvis is Gochri. Now, Gochri means seeking alms. So monks and nuns will not cook food by themselves. So they always rely on the society for their welfare. Can you just imagine, 3 or 4 pots, and if you've done Gochri, is one of the most sort of fulfilling. India, I don't know how many of you have been in India. It's kind of amazing feeling. India, most of the doors are not locked; they're all open doors. And when ladies are cooking food, there's always a tendency of cooking more. And the most beautiful sound is Dharmala. So the Sadhu Maharajas will be walking along, and suddenly at the door, they'll just literally say Dharmalabh, and Dharmalabh means and then they'll come inside your house and sort of they'll put some pots here, and and the amount of joy which you have in giving Sadhu Maharajas is just phenomenal. You will just say apu. But the tendency is, Sadhu Maharajas, there is a code of conduct that they cannot take everything from one house. The idea is, they do not know whether the family is poor or rich. And I cannot come to your house and saying, let me just take everything from you, and then you got nothing left to feed your family. So the idea is they'll come to your house, you got all the joy to say alo, alo, and they'll say no, enough, and then they'll go to another house, and once when they know, because they can't, so they literally can't say, please let me pile up, we have the tendency of hoarding things, they'll say no, because they can't literally waste any food. So they know that Guru Maharaj 8 to 10 people, let me take enough food for all of them. And also can you see, dal sathe, bhat sathe, shak sathe, apne to like mix all the food together. You're not doing it because of like taste, everything. You're sustaining yourself. And the Digambar Maharaj is amazing. So this is the Swetambar monks, and Digambar Maharaj is with your 2 arms. They do not even have pots, patra panna hoy. So they literally come to your house in your 2 hands. You give them roti, dal bhat, they'll just have this, and that's basically it. Lifelong, just eating with this. So Digambars is a different league. I mean, those monks, it's just amazing how even they survive in this day and age. It's just phenomenal. Gochari. What does that mean, gochari? Gaichari. How does a cow eat? Cow just goes on the field and munches the grass and it's going along. So that's exactly what it means. Gochari. Go, the word go comes from gai, and gai means cow. The way how a cow eats, goes on the field, thodo grass ne gas khaya rakhe, and that's exactly what this gochari is. And this is what monks and nuns do. And obviously they have to, so it has to be suitable for them. So amuk na je hoy ke aje mane batte ralat khata gumri, obviously all those things. So they have to make sure so generally when they do vihar, the tendency is that they want to go to cities where they know there's a good Jain population. But even bije na pan hoy, then I think others would know ke je pan hoy khape e loga le na hoy, then aja passe ke maro. So well, I'll fast today if it's not suitable for me. There is a very also apne Gautam Swami apne prayers bole che to anguthe amruta vase labdhi tana banda Sri Guru Gautam Samari mana vanchita phala datar. Gautam Swami ek che the story goes that when he went to Ashtapad Tirtha, he went there and he saw that the monks, because of doing lots of tap for so long, the monks were very kind of malnourished and very thin. Ne pachi Gautam Swami kya kiya, so we know that Gautam Swami had lots of labdhis, he had lot of powers within him. And ene sukeru ke khirati ne patrama angut under raiko, and he just kept on serving all the different monks, and it was enough. Akla patramati, but he could have fed hundreds of monks to them. So that was kind of the power of how he fed so many different monks. Okay, so now let's look at things. When monks and nuns take Diksha, one of the things which says is they've taken vows of what is called Ashtapravachan Mata. So who is the mother now? The mother is these 8 principles, and that's called Ashtapravachan Mata. 5 Samiti and 3 Gupti. So 5 Samitis and 3 Guptis, that's actually like the mother, those are the kind of the core principles which they've adhered to. These 8, so let's see, vigilance in walk, speech, begging alms, receiving and keeping down things. I am a chij muiku, kaipan muiku. Are the 5, so what are the 5 samitis? So vigilance in walk. Chalta, I'm going to be very careful. Bolama, I'm going to be careful. Begging alms, receiving and keeping down of things. I'm a litu, kaipan, being very careful. And excreting are going to be the 5 samitis. And the control of mind, speech and body are the 3 guptis. So these 8 things are called Ashtapravachan Mata. These 8 are called Ashtapravachan Mata, mother precepts. Just as a diligent mother protects her son, so they protect right knowledge, right faith and right conduct of the monk. So these are the 8 principles which are going to say, okay, if a sadhus and sadhus follow these 8 principles, it's going to be like a mother protects their son. You are going to be well protected if you follow these 8 principles. The 5 types of vigilance are meant for the practice of religious life, and the 3 guptis for the prevention of everything sinful. So as you can see, the 5 samiti, that's for the practice of religious life. Life day-to-day conduct karu, how should my life conduct my life? And this is kind of also got a lot of relevance for us. I remember once when Sadhu Shilapiji came to London and she was giving a discourse, she was saying, suppose I can very easily judge a lady's mood or sentiment. You can suppose તમારે ઘરે આવો ને ખાવાનું કરતા હોય, the moment એક lady કંઈક કબાટ ખોલ્યો ને પાછું how you close the cupboard, I can easily sense you. ઘણા ગુસ્સો આવી જાય, you just push the drawer back. Or sometimes someone will actually slowly, gently push the drawer back. Even that small act, there is no one looking at it, but it just shows your mentality. Do you have aggression within you? Are you calm and peaceful? So even if you want to pick up a spoon, after the spoon, gently, these are all kind of the awareness, the vigilance. Even if there is no one around, I'm not doing this to show it to you or prove it to anyone. How are you behaving with your own self? Are you driving karta hoy, game te karta hai, in your day-to-day activities, these are the rules for the monks and nuns, but these are equally applicable to how we behave in our day-to-day life. And that's the reason why I say, initial slide was, if I were to become a monk and nun, what are the things to do? Because we have to see, we feel that there are different species altogether. After all, they were like one of us. And from one of us, they have taken the vows and they've become sadhus and sadhvis. So one of us could follow this path, and then this is kind of the training ground. Just as the one who practices the bhakti is not touched by the defects pertaining to the samiti, okay? The person who is careless in his activities is certainly guilty of violence. Can you see that? It's very nice. The person who is careless in the activities is certainly guilty of violence, irrespective of whether a living being remains alive or dies. It's such a profound statement. Okay, again, if someone dies or living, doesn't matter. Am I aware or am I careless? So if I'm careless, even when you're guilty of that carelessness. Whereas on the other hand, the person who is careful in observing the samitis experiences no karmic bondage simply because some killing has not taken part in connection with his activities. Okay, if I'm very careful, that will take you some killing take you away, then the karmic bondage will be very minimal at that stage because you are being very careful. So what was the concept of these 8 samitis is reduce to a minimum the sphere and frequency of activities that would otherwise lead to an influx of karmic and rise of passions. Okay, you really want to limit mara karma kitla ocha bandha. And also the rise of passions. Like for example, many people ask, bateta khao ke nahi, dungri khao ke nahi. There could be so many different reasons. So I think what I found out from the reading which I've done, there's not always one single answer. Okay, why can't I do this or why can't I not do that? One could be because of underground root hygiene, they could be more violent. The other thing is, even if you look at the Hindu scriptures, tamsik khawanu che, rajsik khawanu che. So if you have a lot of underground roots, they could be more like it arouses a lot of passions, anger, hygiene. So there are so many different reasons why things could occur. So there's not always one answer. So if you have an open mind, then there could be this reason or that reason or other reason. So you also want to see certain kinds of foods can create rise of passions, or more kind joy is mara passions will arise or will arouse. So guptis, we looked at guptis. What does gupti mean? Gupti means to guard, to protect, hidden or concealed. So, there were 3 guptis we say, man, vachan, and kaya. I would really want to have control over my mind, my speech and my body. So, and how would I then control those things? So the 3 things which would come under the guptis would be meditation. I really want to have control over my mind. So if a mind may focus, so an integral part of a sadhus and sadhvis is meditation. One pointed steals the intellectual process. Long periods of silence, vachan, how do I control my speech? So, and then kaya, so man, vachan, kaya, mind mate meditation, vachan mate silence, and kaya mate kayotsarg. How can I become still? How can I really keep myself still? It's kind of amazing when I was looking at it. If we look at economics, people say GDP, gross domestic product, and how is that generally measured? Gross domestic measure is the amount of goods and services produced in a country. And that makes you wonder, are they doing any activity? Zero activity, zero productivity. So are they contributing to the society? It makes you, because they're not doing anything. What are they contributing to the society? Goods and services is the definition of a GDP. And after activity what this business, what activity is it doing? How is it generating revenue? What activity is it doing? Oh, you're producing some services. So as long as there's some output, then you can see, but if I'm sitting still, what output am I doing? There's just nothing you're doing. How? And it just makes me wonder, okay, if economists looked at them, they say, oh wow, well, this is a kind of useless activity. So what are they doing? They're doing absolutely nothing. There's no contribution to GDP at all by just sitting there silently and not doing anything else. But on the other hand, if you really think of it is, after day-to-day life, we could have depression, we could go and see psychiatrists, but the best antidote of any of our problems is to really go to them. If koi sadhu pase jai, it's almost like a guarantee that most of your mental problems will go away. In fact, I was listening to Rakesh Bhai ke kama lecture ma jo koi panave, ke jo tamne aaj ke kamne diabetes che ache de che, you go to a doctor. But anyone has got any mental problems, ke mane aaj depression che ne mane ache, you come to me and I'll make sure that those problems will go, because they've got so much power, they've read so much of the scriptures, and the way they really understand the people's psyche, that they can really, really transform themselves. And this is all through meditation. The amount of things which they can understand and grasp, the intuition power which it develops, books through just by simple observing how many times have we sat and literally observed animals, and this Acharya Channaji, and they just learn and understand so much. Can you imagine Acharya Channaji Pote, when she took Diksha, Channaji was born into the Kataria family in this village of Maharashtra on the 26th January 1937. Her mother Prem Kumar and father Manik Chand named her Shakuntala. She took formal education till class 3. So she's only educated till the age of standard 3. So can you imagine that Acharya Chandraji only standard 3. No education about chokra jalke. Her maternal grandfather convinced her to take initiation under the Jain Sadhvi Sumati Kumar so that she could study and help others. At the age of 14, she renounced the world. So she took Diksha at the age of 14 and became Sadhvi Channa. She took a 12-year vow of silence. So can you imagine our meditation Gupti? So she did a 12-year vow of silence to study Jain scriptures. Can you imagine how much concentration she must have had? If someone wants to do a PhD, it's a 3-year PhD or 4 years PhD. I've now become a doctor and I've got a PhD degree. But she took 12 years in total silence, so no distraction, no losing energy or anywhere else, and just studying Jain scriptures. It's kind of phenomenal the amount of what she must have gained from all those scriptures. Even this is Acharya Sangamitraji Maharaj. So as soon as she became a sadhvi, the next day when we wake up early in the morning, 5 wage, they'll just be sitting in pure meditation and silence. So we've looked at sadhu ke bane, then their mother is at Ashtapravachan Mata, Panch Samiti Tran Gupti, the 8 things. So now let's go from 8 to 10. The Digambars, so when we celebrate Pajushan, it's generally 8 days. When Digambars celebrate Pratikaman, they actually have got a 10-day celebration. But typically, when Swetambar's Pajushan finishes, theirs actually start. So their Pajushan starts and it lasts for 10 days after ours. And theirs Pajushan is generally called Das Lakshan Parva. So that's a Digambar Pajushan. And what are the Das Lakshan? Like many Jain festivals or religious occasions, Das Lakshan is associated with specific number. Here is 10. The festival lasts for 10 days and its name means the festival of 10 virtues. So it's the festival of 10 virtues. And which are the 10 virtues of the Digambars? Patience, Shama, gentleness, Madhav. So every day they'll be contemplating and thinking about each of these 10 virtues. Shama, patience, gentleness, Madhav, honesty, Arjav, purity, Soch, truthfulness, Satya, self-restraint, Sanyam, asceticism, Tap, detachment, Tyag, lack of possessions, Akinchanya, and chastity, Brahmacharya. So these are the 10 different virtues which they look at. And so these are equally applicable for the monks to hold. So we've gone from sort of looking at some of the qualities of from 8 to 10, and let's go from 10 to 12. How are the different kinds of meditations which they follow? And they are generally 12 bhavna. So some of them are called 16 bhavnas and some of them are called 12 bhavnas. So which are the bhavnas? The first one is anitya. And this is kind of quite amazing to see. As a bhavna che, it's almost like are like pocket are like medicine pills. Apne aje mathu duktu hai to ke aap penal lo. Aje mane aap bimar che to hum aap pill lo. This 12, almost, depending on your mood and depending on what you're feeling, you can actually start picking up, okay, let me focus, let me concentrate on this. Anitya. Anitya means nothing is, Nitya means permanent. Anitya means nothing is permanent. And if you literally concentrate on that, and that's actually quite even true for the, if you look at the Buddhist faith, the cornerstone of the Buddhist faith is everything is in a state of change. Nothing is permanent. And if you really focus on that, my house is not permanent, my relations are not permanent, even my body is not permanent. So, and you can go into such level of detail. Everybody is subject to change. Even nature is subject to change. So that's one kind of a contemplation you can do. The other one is Asharan. Asharan. Asharan, no one can give me refuge. Okay, and the classic example is the story of, is it Napoleon? Okay, Napoleon, battlefield, he wants to go out and conquer the entire the world. And I think, have you heard about the story? The final story? Okay, when I want to die, okay, can you please bury me with my hands up, like this? And one of the things was, secondly, the people who are going to be taking my palanquin, it should be doctors. No one else, not my family members. Coffin, it should be the doctors. Why is that? The one thing is, emperor, I'm going to be conquering the entire world, but at the time of my death, none of these doctors and all these people could do anything at the time of my death. Also, I want to be buried. You can bury my body inside, but keep my two hands outside like this. Okay, I was on a conquest to conquer the entire world. I want to really sort of become an emperor, conquer. All these lands are mine, but at the time of my death, nothing has come with me. Like, please keep my hands out of the ground. You can bury my body underground, but my hand should be out. Asharan. That's why આપણે માંગલિક બોલે છે તો આપણે કહે છે કેવલી પણ ધમ્મો અરિહંતા શરણમ સિદ્ધા શરણ. Our real શરણ is actually અરિહંત ભગવાન સિદ્ધ. આપણે જે ભગવાનને આપણે પ્રાર્થના કરશું અરિહંત સિદ્ધ અરિહંતા શરણમ સિદ્ધા શરણમ સાહુ શરણમ કેવલી પન્નતો ધમ્મો શરણમ. So these are the true sharan. Otherwise, everything else can help us, but nothing. Even the doctors can say, sorry, I can't do anything more. And in fact, scriptures make most story pan આવે છે કે one of the persons was actually in a very bad health. એટલું બધું health હતા, and the parents were quite wealthy, so the parents did everything possible to make sure કે આને સારું થઈ જાય. બધા વૈદ્યને બોલાવ્યા કે આ દૂરમાંથી આ કોઈ ડોક્ટર સારું છે એને પણ બોલાવ્યા. Eventually, and I think he had a very burning sensation, and કાંઈ પણ ના થાય. And at that time he also realized કે મારી મધર મને ખાવાનું આપે, મને ઓલા પોતા કરી આપે, મારી વાઇફ મારી બાજુમાં કરે છે, but eventually even they get tired. They cannot even help me 24 hours. Mother will also have to go to sleep, my wife will also have to go to sleep. No one is there 24/7 with me. Eventually I have to bear my own pain. And the pain was so severe, eventually he decided that I have only want to take sharan of Bhagwan. Because that's the only thing. And just with that thought, next morning, this person wakes up, all the disease went away, and then he told the family. And the family is very happy. I don't know, suit you. How did you do it? Doctors ne boleva, wait ne boleva, nothing happened. But I made a resolution, if I become better, I'm going to become a monk, and that's it. Okay, you should stay with us. No, I made a resolution. So that's kind of showing a sharan. Koi no sharan nathi, eventually, dharma nu je sharan je che, that's the ultimate sharan. Sansar anupreksha. That's also kind of amazing to see. Sansar, everything is life and death. I mean, sometimes I also enjoy many of these David Attenborough BBC nature programs. It's kind of just amazing to see how much diversity there is. If you look at the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, janma thai che, maran thai che, this whole ecosystem of the weak eating, the powerful eating the weak, how this whole nature, the balance goes on, and you really see sansar chalu, how this sansar just goes on and on and on. And that's the reason why I'm doing that. Is this really what life is about? Just being happy? How can I get out of there and get the ultimate happiness? And that's what draws people towards religion. Where can I get that ultimate happiness? Sansar anupreksha. Ekatva anupreksha. Ekatva means હું એકલો જ છું, and it's just like myself. Nothing else is me. So we are individual souls, and there is nothing else which is part of me. And that's quite amazing to see. And that's why Jainism aveche paraspara jivanam. All life is independent and interdependent. So yes, I am independent. For me to sustain, we need interdependence. I cannot survive by myself. I need nature, I need others to survive, but eventually all life is independent. So that's ekatva. Okay. I myself am alone. Anyatva, separateness. The world, my relations, my relatives, there is that kind of separation. My body and my mind, that's also separate from my soul. And that's why Buddhism, the whole concept of shunyata comes in, emptiness, shunyata. Asuchi anupreksha. Basically, we all sort of adorn our body, but eventually to see our body is kind of filthy. We sometimes take so much care of our own bodies, but sometimes we realize that we are spending so much time looking after our body, but the real purity is our soul. We tend to ignoring our soul. And even if you look at our own bodily processes, all of our waste products, they kind of it's not pure. Everything is our body, it decomposes, it rots. So that's not pure, and the only purity is the purity of the soul, asuchi. Ashrav anupreksha. So now after these ones, then the next few ones are just based on the types of karma. Karma na શું થાય ashrav આવે છે, influx of karma. So you are literally thinking of these contemplations હું જે પણ activities કરું છું એમાં I'm attracting ashrav, influx of karma. Then it's going to be somewhat, how can I stop the karma? Barikina bandh karu. So to stop the influx, somewhat means to stoppage. I've now stopped the karmas, and nirjara means to take out the karmas. Then lok anupreksha. That's thinking about the entire world. What is in this world? Lok anupreksha. Universe ma su છે, દેવ છે, દેવી છે, how હું બધા ચાર ગતિમાં બધું ફરું છું, and just kind of the broadness of anupreksha. The nature of the universe and its constituent elements. Bodhi dullabh anupreksha. The rarity of the right path. It's kind of amazing when you do mathematics, this whole concept of statistics. What is the probability of something happening? And a lot of our scriptures, they've given different analogies of how rare is it to get a human birth, and then how rare, even after getting the human birth, to have all the faculties correct. If you have deformities, if you are sick, then you can't even follow the path. Then to be born in the right family. Right family does not mean we are egoistic, but family with the right sanskar. Can you imagine if our children are born into a meat-eating family, then they'll be eating meat right from day one. They've got no qualms. But sometimes we feel at least they are born into kind of our families, and then we've got the capability of passing on the right sanskars to our children. So all these things are rare, and then eventually to have that conviction, I want to follow the path of purification. And then dharma, swachya, tattva, nature of the right path. It eventually comes here, I want to follow the right path. Once when I understand, I want to do something for myself. So this all leads to detachment. And then this detachment, then sort of say, if someone is really, it gets down to their heart, it motivates someone, I really want to renounce this, because after understanding all these issues, this is the path to follow. So I think that's... Okay, so I think I'll stop here, and then we'll carry on. The next week will be the last session on this, and then we'll try to finish it off next week. Thank you.